lawsuit filed by 11 people who were deported to the country from the United States. The deportations are part of the U.S. government's hardline approach towards immigration since President Donald Trump took office in January. And to speak to us further, we are joined on the line by their lawyer, Oliver Barker Vormawor, joining us on the line. Oliver, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you, Lula. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, Oliver, you say the deportees had not violated any Ghanaian law and their detention in a military camp was therefore illegal. Tell us more about the action that has been instituted.
As we know, 14 individuals were brought into Ghana, as the president confirmed. According to the presidency, those 14 had all been repatriated. But then we got contacted, the law firm got contacted by their lawyers in the US. We showed that these individuals, 11 of them were still in Ghana. About 8 of them were under protective orders by US courts, which was preventing their repatriation out of the country and being brought into Ghana. Now, these are persons who are asylum seekers, meaning that they have genuine based fears of being repatriated and sent back to their home countries, which is what Ghana is trying to do. So the lawsuit in one regard is seeking to prevent the government from repatriating them to the countries where they have genuine fear for their lives. And secondly, as well, to sue Ghana. These persons have been held in detention since they arrived in Ghana about 2 weeks ago without any violation of without any crime committed, without any legal basis for their being brought into Ghana. Now, a couple of days ago, we know that the Minister for Foreign Affairs in Ghana claims that Ghana has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the US. That agreement, according to Ghanaian law, should have been brought before Parliament and ratified before Parliament. The government has not done that. So as far as we're concerned, that agreement is a secret agreement that nobody knows what the content is of. But whatever the case may be, that agreement cannot be the basis for detaining individuals who have not committed any crime under Ghanaian law. The government also claims that the reason why the persons have been brought into Ghana, West African nationals, is because there's existing within ECOWAS, which is the regional bloc, an agreement that allows for free movement of persons. And so bringing them into Ghana would allow them to move about freely. But we are saying that protocol that exists within ECOWAS is for the free and voluntary movement of persons and goods. It is not a basis for involuntary or forced repatriation of persons who are asylum seekers in other countries. So these are some of the issues that were put in before the court. We had a first hearing yesterday, and then the matter has been adjourned to Tuesday, 23rd of September, for further arguments.
Now, the government says they received 14 people, but you're representing 11 people. What has happened to the others?
Our understanding is that 3 of them have already been repatriated back to their respective countries. As we speak, as part of the lawsuit that has been filed in the US, on the US side, we know that those individuals have testified that even back in their country, they are in hiding because of the fear of repercussions to them. But also importantly, I need to emphasize that the Minister for Foreign Affairs also indicated that Ghana is expecting to receive 40 more deportees. And that's something that we're preparing for as well.
Now, has there been any reaction from the Ghanaian government regarding the lawsuit?
In fact, for a long time, the Ghanaian government was denying the presence of these persons in Ghana. The president and the Minister of Foreign Affairs have all claimed that these persons have left. We had to, through our own investigative means, be able to locate the persons who were being held in a military camp. Now, we reached out to the military high command regarding the detention of these persons. They denied holding the persons and, in fact, said that it was against the military law to hold civilians in military custody. But we have been able to receive video confirmation of where they are being detained. We have been able to speak to them. We have been able to confirm their location, even though the authorities are denying us access to be able to interact with these persons. We know for sure they are in Ghana, despite claims to the contrary.
Now, you've touched on the court order in the U.S. Protecting these individuals from being deported to Ghana. Now, with these 5 of the detainees, are the 5 part of those suing the Ghanaian government? Just give us a bit of background without giving us too much information on your clients.
Of course, 8 of them were beneficiaries of protective orders from U.S. courts, and they are all part of our clients that we are representing. All of them are being represented we're going through the U.S. asylum process based on genuine fears of whether political persecution, religious persecution, or even sexual orientation persecutions that they were facing in their home countries, which is the basis of the asylum claims. In fact, a couple of them were also granted protective orders from being repatriated based on torture that they had suffered in their home countries. So these are serious questions of human rights obligations that are in play here. And of course, one of the things that our lawsuit is calling attention to is Ghana's own international obligations under the 1951 UN Convention on Refugees and also the OAU, African Convention relating to refugees, which Ghana is violating by participating and signing an agreement with the US to repatriate individuals who are under genuine fear for their lives.
Now, opposition MPs are demanding the immediate suspension of the deal until Parliament ratifies it. Now, has government broken any laws by already allowing the first batch of deportees into the country, and still with the expectation of 40 more also being sent through? And then also very quickly in wrapping up, how much money is the Ghanaian government receiving or has received for these individuals?
Now, these are critical questions. Of course, yes, the government has broken Ghanaian constitutional law by acting upon an agreement that has not been ratified by Parliament. It has broken Ghanaian immigration laws by admitting individuals, many of them without travel documents, things that are beyond the scope of what the executive is able to do under our laws. But also importantly, it's surprising that the government has not submitted this agreement to Parliament for ratification, which begs the question, what are they trying to hide? I say this because the current government was voted in just about 8 months ago, and it controls Parliament by more than 2/3 majority. It's never happened in our democracy before. They have even a mandate to amend our constitution. So to have such overwhelming majority in Parliament and refuse to submit the deal, then it means that they're more concerned about issues of transparency. Now, the government has come out and claimed that they are not receiving any money and that they are only doing this for humanitarian reasons. A lot of people have called BS, pardon my French, on this. So the truth of what it is, in fact, nobody knows what the government is. What is the quid pro quo arrangement, whether it is something direct or indirect, such as one of the things we know that Ghana has been worried about is the tariffs that have been imposed on the country. We know that could be a motivation for the government in getting into this, but at this point, it's all speculation without having a copy of the agreement that was entered into.
Well, Oliver, I hope we'll be able to speak to you again once the developments change with regards to this particular lawsuit, and moving forward, once you have more details as to what is going to happen going forward. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's a lawyer representing the 11 deportees from the U.S., Oliver Vormawor, joining us on the line. And it is time for our news headlines with Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News.